Hello everyone, today is not going to be epic because my MTB dream yard has to be completely destroyed. In amongst all of this sadness though, I always try and find the best of moments. Look at the size of this apple I just found. Oh, it's so big. But that's not really going to help the fact that this huge digger in the background here has already flattened everything. As you may notice, the pit bike track is no more, and there's going to be no more fun in my backyard, which is so upsetting. Let's go and have a look how bad the back looks. As you can see from this depressing time warp, I had to spend a whole day in that massive digger flattening my dreams. Shattered and flattened. Not the best thing. But as you can see now behind me, it has been fully completed. There is nothing left in this barren landscape of no fun at all. And you mountain bikers will definitely agree that this looks way worse than jumps. So now it's time to tell you why this even happened. So basically what happened was Dad was round here doing some work on the roof. Thanks a lot, Dad. Two men from Colchester Council arrived with their piece of paper. They're all proud and happy to ruin people's excitement in life. And they came in with this enforcement notice. Bearing in mind Dad doesn't own the house, they're already kind of aggressively telling my dad he's going to get a 20 grand fine and go to prison. It's not even his house. But basically on this enforcement notice was telling me I had to cease all forms of mountain biking, remove all the mounds from the garden, and I was interfering with the neighbours, creating noise and nuisance and disturbance, which, as we'll get into, never actually happened. They could have just come round politely explaining the issues, but as with all people that work in such jobs, I think they feel they have to be above everyone else. Unfortunately, we all just have to get, we just all have to have jobs in lives to eat and stuff. So, a bit of respect to some of the people in your town council might get you a bit further in life. But anyway, this is where it all gets a little bit ridiculous. Luckily though, in the UK you get a chance to appeal such enforcement notices, and that's exactly what we did. We wrote in, said why we should be able to keep these mounds of mud and the ramps, and they also asked my neighbours. So the neighbours had a chance to write in their letters and tell the council and the government why it wasn't or was a bad thing in the garden. Of course, I spoke to all the neighbours, they had no problems with it. Why would they? It's my garden, they can't see in, I'm making no noise. I don't ride the motorbike in the back here. I've only ever ridden the pit bike in the front and then vlogs that you've seen for about 30 minutes in the middle of the day. So no one was ever annoyed. Anyway, I was able to get all of these letters in the appeal process so I could look through and see what everyone was saying. Of course, my neighbours here, they're all stoked. They're like, yeah, it's fine. You're not making any noise and not disturbing. But I had one letter from one man who, believe it or not, is the guy that builds Colchester Bike Park. I'm going to read this how he has written it as well, which also shows this guy's brain capacity. Hi, regarding the dirt jumps. Sam Pilgrim has built in garden. He has had a lorry load of materials being delivered, building new wooden features, and now a 20-foot big in garden. This is an eyesore for locals, and noise of pit bikes and the constant whine of electric motorbikes. Now his friend and his partner have moved in. All three are making money from the jumps, i.e. posting on their tube channels. In the winter, you can see it from the A12. Accident waiting to happen. And as people can see these jumps from their gardens, when land gets built on that area, not a go thing to look at from your new home, 30-foot heaps of soil. Regards, Mark, crossed out last name. How mind-blowing is that? That a man that is in the mountain bike community and builds the so-called Colchester Bike Park can write in a letter telling about my garden. He doesn't even live here. He lives miles away. Anyway, carrying on, we're now halfway through the end. The appeal came back. They said no. I had 28 days to completely destroy everything in the garden. All I'm allowed to keep is the wooden ramps. I'm not allowed to ride in the garden anymore. And they've also caused some danger issues because of the current climate in the world of COVID and busyness. I'm gonna have to take this scaffold down myself. So if anything happens, it's on your back, Colchester Council and appeal people. So this is gonna come down in the next few days. When you watch this video, there'll actually only be 6 days left. I can even be in my garden with wheels, which is just mind-blowing. And how do I know it's 100% this Mark guy? This is actually kind of funny. On that correspondence, that letter he'd written to the council that they then sent to me in the appeal process, was an email address on the top there saying Mark blah 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 blah. I saw the name, couldn't believe it. Mark from the bike park, it can't be him. He's actually a nice guy, so I thought at the time. And then to make sure it was 100% him, I messaged him on Facebook saying, hey, Monster Energy want to sponsor the bike park, what's your email address so we can get it going? He replied with exactly the email address that was on this email, the letter that wanted me to close my back garden down. Absolutely ridiculous. And that leads me on to believe that he is the man that initially told the council about my backyard. Because if we go straight back to the start, when they first come round here speaking to my dad, they mentioned that they'd watched my YouTube videos about what I've done in the garden. Why would a 70-year-old council worker have watched my videos? Really, that clearly doesn't like extreme sports, or he wouldn't have made me close this down. So, Mark, there's a lot of words that I'd love to say right now, not gonna. What we're gonna do is throw away all this anger by getting out the pit bike and having a final little session here, winding some throttle. Beast's warming up. There's no berm here anymore because it's all been flattened, but if we just put this oil drum here, we can sort of use that and then link from that side into here. Be like a bit of a boggy enduro zone. Could be fun. Let's get twisting now then. Oh, this is a new section. Boggy. Round the digger. A little double hit on the go. Let me try and blow up that like bit that's been cleaned away over there. Wow. That is quite sad really. This switch here symbolises the end of the orchard and the dream yard. It's turned off. That is it. No more fun to be had in this place that I bought purely to ride bikes at. Now I'm just stuck with all of this space for no reason. Yeah, not really much else to say in that. I've been waffling the whole video. If you made it this far, thank you very much for your support and watching the videos. So on that bombshell of sadness and no more MTB Dream Yard, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys, well actually I hope you didn't enjoy it, because only Mark could enjoy it. That'd be awesome if you leave some comments. And it'd be sick if you subscribe. See you in the next one.